Mindful Living listeners. This is your host, Sana, and today we are diving deep into a topic we all wrestle with: the negative voice in our heads. You know the one, that inner critic that never seems to take a day off. But what if we could stop fighting it and instead dance with it? So, joining me is the incredibly inspiring Stephanie Michelle, a brilliant screenwriter, actress, and mental health advocate whose deeply personal journey has shaped her mission to help others reclaim their lives. From navigating her own battles with suicidal ideation to using her art as medicine, Stephanie has learned not just to coexist with her inner critic, but to embrace it as part of her healing. Her story is raw, real, and filled with wisdom, listeners. So grab a cup of tea or coffee, get comfortable, and let's explore how to change the steps in this mental dance. So, Stephanie, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor to have you with us today.
Wow, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Stephanie, your journey is so empowering, so inspiring. So, can you share how you came to view your art as medicine and what role it plays in your mental health journey?
Absolutely. There are several different forms of art that I use to heal, but the main one was writing my story and making it at first it was a play, and now it's being adapted into a film by a screenplay. And then dance has been definitely one of the most healing things. That's why we're going to be talking about dancing with that negative voice inside of our heads. But for the most part, I have used my story through writing a screenplay that's now in pre-production for a film to really get in on my own life, but realizing it's a universal story and then sharing it with the world. And once you start to share your story, you start to heal. So anyone who has a story should share it.
True, that's true. So, Stephanie, you teach clients to name their inner critic. That's really unique and interesting. So, can you explain how giving it a name helps reduce its power and allows us to interact with it differently?
Absolutely. So I say give this voice inside of you a ridiculous name. For me, it is Razum, which actually happens to be a character in the film, and that is the personification of the mind. And so, if you can think of a wild name to give this character or your mind, then you get to start being the observer of it rather than rather than attaching yourself to it and being those thoughts. You start to see yourself as the observer of the thoughts, so you can start to choose to listen to it or not. So even as a volleyball coach, when I had an 8-year-old and she was so hard on herself, I told her, "What are you telling yourself?" And she shared with me, I can't make it over the net, or, whatever. And I was like, okay, let's give her a name. And so she named it, and she named it a bully in her school, which was funny. And she started to be able to be like, she's talking to me, that voice. And I was like, okay, let's put her in the corner, put tape on her mouth. She's going to be there, but you don't have to listen to her. So it's kind of the same even in adults, is that negative voice is going to be there. So if you give it a name, you can recognize it and you can start dealing with it differently.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So you have mentioned somatic practices as transformative in your healing process. It's something really another deeper level when we explore healing as a holistic process. So can you walk us through a simple somatic technique that listeners can use to find calm in the moment?
Absolutely. So the first thing is to actually get into your body. Most people are living from their head only, but there's so much wisdom and information inside of the body. And so what you can do immediately in the moment is to start checking in for sensations that are happening inside the body. And also, there's several steps. It's like basically getting back in touch with all your senses. So listening to how many sounds you can hear in the room in that moment. or feeling your clothes on your skin if they're textured. There's several practices in getting back into the present moment. And then there's practices on getting into your body and releasing the energy and the emotion that's stuck. So I would say those are kind of two different things. The presence of getting in the moment, listening for the sounds, seeing, feeling the stuff, feeling the texture of the clothes on your skin, but then actually doing the deep healing of somatic work, I would say is getting in your body and releasing the emotion that is stuck in there.
Makes sense. So some people would say, Stephanie, that ignoring or suppressing the negative voice is more effective than engaging with it. It might create a kind of blocker in your mind when you're trying to focus on something. Why do you believe dancing with it is a better approach?
I believe that if you are able to witness it and allow it to be present without listening to it, meaning you're actually, once you name it, you see it as no longer you can almost start having a dialogue with it, which is basically the dance. And it's seeing that part of yourself as trying to protect you. So there's something inside of you that is terrified of whatever you're about to do, or is feeling completely out of control. And so this part of you is going to come and get activated to protect you, to keep you safe, and to try to control everything around it. And what I've come to learn is once I've given it the name and see it, I can start talking to it like it's a 4-year-old child. It's okay. I've got you. Everything's going to be okay. It's okay to feel that way. That makes a lot of sense. Validate it, love it. Because once you start to show that part of yourself the love that it's actually desiring and needing, then your entire world gets to transform and shift. But if you keep avoiding it and trying to run away from it and negating it, then it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, trying to get more attention.
I agree with it. So, Stephanie, when that negative voice becomes overwhelming, what's your go-to strategies to shift out of mental hell and get back to a place of balance and calmness?
Yes, and I still battle with it on a daily basis, or dance with it, should I say. My first thing is I really need to be in my body, the first and foremost. So if it's really, really loud and I've recognized it, I give it some energy release. So I go work out, I do a walk or run, weights, dance, just something to start to move that energy, because if it's caught in a loop, then I usually need to release the energy so it kind of doesn't get stuck there. I also have systems in place of knowing how to navigate that voice. So basically, I would call a friend, call someone else and check and see how they're doing to get myself out of myself. And then also just becoming really curious. So instead of being, oh my gosh, I'm in so much anxiety, or oh my gosh, we can take it to the extreme, and whatever negative thoughts are happening, instead of going to the extreme of this is bad, bring a curiosity to it. This is interesting. I wonder what it's here. What is it trying to tell me? What is it trying to show me? When I have suicidal ideation, I look at that as a red flag that I'm out of alignment in an aspect of my life. So I start to look at, okay, if this is a red flag because I'm starting to feel trapped and those thoughts are starting to come up again, where in my life am I not taking responsibility? And what choices do I need to make that need to be different so that I'm in alignment with my truth and my joy?
Sounds effective. So now talking about your screenplay, Bloom, it draws from deeply personal experiences. So would you like to share a bit about Bloom with our listeners, and also how has telling your story helped you heal, and what do you hope viewers take away from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the story, this whole screenplay started because I was wrestling with the question, what inside of my dad made him take his life? Because my dad passed away by suicide. And I it was in 2007, and I was just constantly asking myself, like, what was it inside of him? What is it inside of people that, drive them to addiction and drive them to use and all of these things? And it really wasn't until I had my own personal struggle and journey with that aspect of myself that I was able to tell the full story, because I had a moment where I wanted to take my own life, and I was on the verge of doing it. I was on the edge of a cliff in Hawaii. And instead, I heard the voice, if you want to call it that, God, spirit, you know, I heard the voice, and my dad didn't. So I started to really question, what voice are we listening to in our everyday life? That negative function or the true self? And that's what started the whole, process of making this film. And it is the journey of my story of being diagnosed manic depressive and being over medicated and coming on and off medication, and the whole time pursuing the dream and constantly being derailed by this inner critic. And so once I wrote it all the way through, the inner critic became so ridiculous because the things it says is so outrageous that I started to be able to apply it in my everyday life. And that's why I teach my clients and people to start really calling that character out, because once you see it, it just is ridiculous at what the things it tells you. And that's been the journey of my screenplay. And even in writing the screenplay, I had to navigate and dance with that voice because it was very much alive and well. You're not good enough. No one's going to listen, no one's going to see it. It's never going to get made. All of those things definitely came up, that self-doubt. But it's like I gave it space. I was like, okay, you can sit in this chair, but you cannot drive the car, like, at all. You're in the back seat. You're not touching any of the remote. You're like in the back seat. You're here. I know you're here, but I'm going to keep going and keep moving through it.
Hmm. Great. That's really, really great. Uh, it's really, incredible, Stephanie. So critics may often would often argue that creative expression like art or storytelling, it might be cathartic, but doesn't provide lasting mental health solutions. What
Mm.
response to this perspective?
I believe that the mission of the film is to start conversations. And the mission of the film is to show or people, if they don't have a mental health issue, what it's like to have one. And if they do have one, it has tools embedded in it of how to navigate and live a life that is still one that is exciting and enjoyable and that they love. So to answer your question, I would say that it's not, art is cathartic, yes, and sharing your art helps others. It moves something in others. The ultimate goal is the conversations and is bringing the darkness to light so it can be looked at and talked about and worked through. So I would say that would be the proponent that allows the mental health aspect of it to have some solid weight, because once you start talking about it, there's a shame that lessens and you start to heal in that capacity. Once you're moved by a piece, be it, a painting or a dance or whatever, something inside of you wakes up. So you connect and you feel your humanity and you connect to the overall, human experience. And ultimately, that's, I think, what heals people.
Hmm. Great. That's a great answer, Stephanie. Okay, so you have had several close calls with death, as you mentioned, both physically and mentally also. So
Mhm.
what's that one mindset shift which allowed you to move from merely surviving to now truly living, thriving? Mhm.
Um, it was a major decision. It was a decision. I was having heart issues and I had just had heart surgery. So this wasn't mental, this wasn't in the suicidal ideation world at all. This was literally my body was like, having some issues. And so I had heart surgery and I was in bed and because I was bedridden for a few days and my mind started spinning out and I felt like I was on the edge of the cliff once again. I don't want to be here. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. What's the point of living? Like these are all of the thoughts that I was just totally consumed by. And I finally realized I had this like aha moment of I am choosing to listen to this. I am choosing to believe this. None of this is real. None of this that I'm thinking is actually real. And from this moment on, I am going to choose to live and enjoy it and enjoy the ride and enjoy life. And it was a decision. And once I made that decision, it's like a non-negotiable. I've still have suicidal ideation every now and then, but it's a non-negotiable. It's like, okay, well, that's off the table. So how do you find the joy in this moment right now? Or what do you need to feel right now to move through and allow it to be there and express it?
Mm. And having faced toxic relationships and financial struggles, Stephanie, how did you cultivate healthy relationships and also a healthier mindset around money? Or any specific steps which you would like to share, which made the biggest impact for you?
Yeah. Wow. I believe for me, the biggest shift was recognizing that I was the main creator of my circumstances and that how I was treating myself inside was showing up on the outside. And when I started to do the deep work of truly loving myself, on a fundamental level, like loving that voice is a big deal. Loving the aspects of myself that I really, don't like. That is when my entire relationship journey shifted. And now what's reflected back to me is love and, consistency and showing up because that's how I treat myself. So that's how the environment has shown up for me. For the finances, I had to get really clear about what I believed was my value and my worth and just start to dig deep and know my value and know my worth and know I'm creating something great in this world just by being me, just by being the full expression of me. I am creating value in the world. And money for me, the biggest shift was learning about money, like actually going and get curious and start understanding it. And also really understanding that it's always in circulation. So just constantly having this idea of flow, money comes in, money goes out, money comes in, money goes out. I started to stop feeling that survivor mode scarcity and started to feel really abundant of like, I am always supported. I am always taken care of. There's money always coming in. There's money always going out. And it's just, I'm a part of this dance once again, with the energy of money.
Hmm. Great. So, also, you have transformed your life from a place of struggle to now a mission of service. So, what does living with purpose mean to you now, Stephanie, and how do you help others find their own sense of purpose?
Yeah. So living with purpose for me means that I know why I'm here on a fundamental level, which is to use my life, the experiences in my life, to help others who have gone through something similar or going through something similar. And then also, it is my mission to be connected to my joy, because if I'm connected to my joy and my light, then I'm able to activate and share that with the world. And just by being connected to that for anyone, it's contagious. So that's my mission, is to be truly authentic and connected to my true self and my joy so that I can share that with the world. And then also to share my story and help those that have gone through something similar or are going through something similar.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful, Stephanie. And before we wrap up, for those who feel trapped by their negative voices, but they don't know where to start, what's one small actionable step you would recommend they can take today to begin the process of change and healing?
I would say give it a name, write it down, and write down what it's saying. Because once you have awareness, once you've shown a light on it, it loses its power and you can start making choices that feel better. And to dance. Put on some good music and dance.
Yeah.
Shake your hips and booty, because then you'll start to feel better immediately.
Exactly. Shake your week, take it off. Great, great, Stephanie. That was really a lovely conversation, and thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey and also your wisdom with us today. So, if our listeners they want to connect with you and they want to check out your work, how they can do that?
Absolutely. So they can go to Instagram at the journey of bloom, and you can DM me. And if you DM me the word dance, I will send you a PDF of the mental system that I use to maintain my mental health and a solid foundation. And you can also check out on my Instagram the process and progress of the film being made.
Lovely, lovely. We'll have all the details mentioned in the show notes for our listeners. And listeners, that's a wrap on this conversation today on the Mindful Living podcast. Stephanie's journey is a powerful reminder to all of us that even in our darkest moments, worst phases of our life, there is an opportunity to transform pain into purpose. From naming that negative voice in our heads to embracing somatic practices and reconnecting with our inner wisdom, Stephanie has given us some invaluable tools to navigate life's challenges with courage and grace. And you are not defined by the struggles you face, but by how you choose to rise above them. So, if you are feelings inspired by Stephanie's story, make sure to check out her work and connect with her through the links in the show notes. And thank you to everyone for tuning into the Mindful Living podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it today. Until next time, be kind to yourself, embrace your journey, and keep dancing with that voice in your head. It just might teach you your greatest moves. See you soon. Thank you.